What's up, my comic comrades? Today we continue covering the Thor title with issue 8, the latest issue to be released as of shooting this episode. I say it all the time, but Donny Cates' Thor title is easily one of my favorite monthly books right now, and recently some crazy changes have been going on with Thor's hammer. If you watched our episode on issue 7 titled Mjolnir Makes Everyone Worthy, or have been reading the Thor title for yourself, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Also, if you didn't read issue 7 of Thor, or watched our video on it, you're going to be extremely lost today. In any case, let's break down issue 8, and obviously there's going to be spoilers for this issue, and maybe even some spoilers for earlier issues of Thor. With that said, let's dive in. The issue starts off telling us that since the dawn of Asgard, there has always been and always will be a great book of kings that is written and read only by them. We also learn that within its infinite pages, you'll find stories of the great nothing that birth the thread of creation, and from them, the weavings of damnation. Tales of death and rebirth, Ragnarok and resurrection, of love and power, of winter and lightning, and thunder and blood of titans, and of war and of God and man and monsters in the myths that they all have made real. And we see that every great king of Asgard has tried to look at this book when they were a child, from Buri to Bor to Odin to Thor, each of them squinting into the face of forever, hoping to see a glimpse of their own destiny and finding nothing. The story goes on to tell us, for you see, only a king, a true king of Asgard, can read what is written in these eternal pages. And now the Thunder King Thor, fully grown into his rightful crown, has not yet seen enough peace in his reign to read the chapters that finally lay bare before him. He has not yet read about the Golden Shadow, the second god of lies, the lightning that walks, the King in Stone. But even if he had, even if Thor had read every damned word of this yet somehow doomed tale, Thor would find no mention of this, as we see an adult Thor looking at the Book of Kings. Now obviously this is setting up for things that are going to happen later on in the title, as Thor's legacy and future has been a huge part of Cates' Thor title since the beginning. Almost every issue has something like this that keeps building upon the last before we're ultimately going to get to the huge climax. When is that exactly? I'm not sure, but the anticipation and build-up has been great. Anyway, after the first couple of pages, the comic brings us to where the last issue left off, and we see Iron Man telling a bunch of news reporters to get back, with the car mechanic Adam Aziz behind him, who was able to lift Thor's hammer, and now apparently possesses the power of Thor. If you're confused, go watch our Mjolnir Makes Everyone Worthy episode to get you all up to speed. Anyway, Adam then tells Iron Man, who is trying to block the crowd of reporters, "I don't know what happened. I'm sorry, Iron Man, I didn't mean to." And Iron Man says, "Stop talking," as he activates an EMP blast to fry all the cameras and electronics around him. Iron Man then tells Adam while walking away from the crowd, "Short burst EMP, followed by a redirect to one of my satellites." All of their live feeds just switched to the reruns of the old Captain America by War Bonds cartoons, which if you haven't seen them, man, they're bad. I gotta pause for a second and say, I love the MCU Cap War Bonds nod. Anyway, Iron Man then turns his face to the crowd, now yelling at them saying, which means their ratings will continue to plummet unless they all clear out. Once away from all the reporters, Iron Man's like, "Now you, this isn't your fault, you didn't mean for this to happen. But, I'm sorry, this isn't your origin story, I'm gonna need that hammer." And Adam says, "Oh yeah, of course, it's just..." And as Iron Man puts out his hand to take the hammer, he says, "Come on man, please don't make this a thing. My history in this town with guys with hammers is spotty at best." And before Iron Man can finish what he's saying, a huge thunderstrike hits between them, which is none other than Thor arriving on Earth, saying, "Adam Aziz of Oklahoma, my apologies for the turmoil I have wrought upon you." Thor then lands on the ground telling Adam, "You have earned a favor from a god this day." And Adam just looks at Thor saying, "Whoa, Thor, you're the real life Thor." Thor replies, "The honor is all mine. Now if I may," as Thor puts out his hand to take the hammer from Adam, Adam says, "Yes, yes sir. Again, I'm sorry for any of the trouble I caused. It's just..." And out of nowhere, we see someone take the hammer from Adam's hand before he can give it back to Thor, with a caption saying, "Yeah, no." And on the next page, we see it's Iron Man who flew in and grabbed the hammer saying, "You aren't getting it back. Not until you and I have a little chat, Your Highness." That's right, Iron Man is now wielding Mjolnir. It's kind of crazy to see anyone able to lift Thor's hammer. Thor tells Iron Man, "Tony, this has nothing to do with you. Now give me my hammer and I will..." And Iron Man interrupts saying, "Oh, I'm sorry. Do you not remember the part where you released my private number? You literally called me here." To which Thor responds, "I needed someone here I could trust. I knew the locals would be upset. Plus, you were on my hammer, so..." What Thor and Iron Man are talking about is essentially an ongoing prank war between the two of them that started in issue 1 of Thor. In said issue, Tony wrote on Thor's hammer, and then Thor retaliated in issue 7, giving Tony's phone number to everyone. Just wanted to tell you guys that in case you wanted to know what the heck was going on. In any case, Iron Man then starts telling Thor, "You aren't leaving here until you answer some questions." So what? Just anyone could pick up Mjolnir now, huh? Your little magic hammer is broken and you wanted to test it, so you threw it here? What if someone had gotten hurt? What if, God forbid, Dr. Doom had come here and scooped it up? Thor then says that wouldn't have happened. Tony replies, this is insane, and until I can run some tests and get some answers on this, I'm sorry, old buddy, the hammer stays with me. Thor just looks at Tony saying, I do not answer to you. Tony looks back, then puts his helmet on and says, fine. And then on the next page, we see that Iron Man strikes Thor across the face with his own hammer. And I'm talking about hard. Tony even activated his arm thrusters to give him extra torque. Then on the next page, we see it didn't really affect Thor all that much, like at all, as he starts conjuring up a storm. Thor's eyes then turn to light as he looks down at Tony saying, do not mistake wielding my hammer for wielding my power. Mjolnir or not, I am still a god, and you are a tin man in a lightning storm. As fire in the shape of a T or hammer forms around them. Yeah, this version of Thor is no joke. He is so OP, it's insane, but I kinda love it. And I love the line, do not mistake wielding my hammer for wielding my power. Anyway, Iron Man then says, well, as far as arguments go, that's compelling, and gives the hammer back to Thor, because what is Tony gonna do against a god? Thor then says, thank you, Tony. You have always, well, for the vast majority of the time that I've known thee, you have been a noble ally and friend. Thank you for not making me test that again. Tony says, sure, but hey, I can't imagine what's going on with you lately. Try taking it easy. Consider a vacation or some rest or something. Try to get away, even for a weekend. You seem a little tightly wound. And Thor responds, there's no rest for kings, Tony. And if I may ask you a favor, please, I need your help. If word spreads that any man or beast may wield Mjolnir, no matter their worthiness, I fear another war. We cannot allow it. And Tony says, okay, I got you, big guy. It's in the vault, but I'll trade you one secret for another secret, okay? Speaking of wars, I wrote on your hammer, you gave out my number. Well, now I have video footage of me hitting you in the face with your own hammer. So top that, big guy. And Thor replies, challenge accepted. Adam then speaks up saying, hey, Thor, I really don't need any kind of favors, but there is one thing. And we find out on the next page that one thing is flying. The next few pages, Thor basically gives Adam basic training in wielding the hammer and how to fly and land with it. Adam ultimately says, thank you for that. When I was in prison, I will look out of a little window in my cell, watching the birds fly and pray that I could be like them. So I just want to say thank you, Thor. Thor replies, no need for thanks, Adam. It is in fact what prayers are for. Adam then says, no offense, but how do I get rid of this outfit in all of this? Thor laughs and says, none taken. Simply strike Mjolnir on the ground with all of your might. Adam's like, seriously? And then he does it, transforming back into his normal self, saying, huh, well, that'll do it, huh? Adam then starts leaving, telling Thor thank you once again, saying, listen, I'm not an Avenger or anything, but I am a pretty good mechanic, and a machine is a machine, you know? You could fiddle with it all you want, but sometimes, most times, you find that turning something off and turning it back on again will fix most things. Thor then asks, and if not? Adam replies, well, me, I usually hit them with a hammer until they do. Thor then just looks at his hammer as Adam walks away, saying, best of luck, don't be a stranger. And then on the last page of the comic, we see Thor walk into an old empty house or office, thinking of what Tony said to him. Tony said, try to take it easy, consider a vacation or something, try to get away, even for a weekend. He also starts thinking of what Adam said to him. Sometimes you'll find that turning something off and turning it back on again will fix most things. And while he's thinking of what they said, he walks over to a desk and picks up a picture of Donald Blake standing next to the Donald Blake Family Clinic, as we see a smirk on Thor's face. That's right, guys, the end of this comic teases the return of Donald Blake. One would assume this means that Thor is going to turn back into Donald Blake once again. Even though the continuity of Donald Blake is a bit confusing, as he was originally thought to be the alter ego of Thor by finding Thor's hammer and then channeling his power. Then it was later revealed that he was just a magical construct to teach Thor a lesson in humility. But then this was called into question many years after that, once Thor discovered Donald Blake in stasis, only for it to be revealed again that he was a magical construct. Because as I always say, comics. So I am very curious to see how Donny Cates handles this, as he's potentially bringing back some Stan Lee era stuff, which I'm totally down for. And if he does have Thor turn back into Donald Blake again, it will go along with the whole analogy Adam gave Thor, saying, sometimes you have to turn a machine off and turn it back on again to make it work. Meaning Thor would turn back into Donald Blake, a normal human, then turn back into Thor to hopefully reset Mjolnir. That's just my guess of what's going to happen, but it seems kind of obvious. But whatever the creative team has in store, I'm very excited and curious to see how it plays out. Every time we break down one of these Thor issues, I have nothing but good things to say about it, and that applies to this one, so I'm just going to throw it to you guys. What do you think of the Thor title? Are you enjoying all the creative ideas that the team is doing with Thor? Let us know in the comment section down below. First up for the week of November 4th, we have Justice League issue 56. The Justice League has nowhere left to hide from the agents of Perpetua. The towering nightmarish Omega Knight hunts them to the edges of Brimstone Bay and will stop at nothing until the team is obliterated. Next, we have Tales from the Dark Multiverse, Batman Hush. How did the Batman Hush storyline play out in the Dark Multiverse? Find out in this 48-page comic. Here we have Thor issue 9. Putting it plain and simple, Thor is about to turn back into Donald Blake, which he hasn't done for years. So if you're a Thor fan, you need to check out this issue. And finally, we have Batman issue 102. Bruce Wayne in the city he loves has changed dramatically following the events of the Joker War. but Batman and his mission are eternal. But not everyone thinks that should be the case. The mysterious vigilante known as Ghostmaker has known Bruce since they were teenagers, and he's made his decision. It's time Gotham City had a new hero. And that brings another episode of Variant to a close, but if you liked today's video, be sure to check out this one right here, and if you like the channel, be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. It always helps us out, but I will see you guys next time when I talk about all things comics.